microscopic, which means we're not going to see the alveolus. We're not going to see the capillary network, so we won't see a pulmonary arteriole, we won't see a pulmonary venule, we won't see the capillary network, we won't see the cells of the alveolus. Right? So where will that show up? That will show up there on the human part. All right? So on the cat, there we see the respiratory system, and there we see the major organ. So there is the organ of gas exchange, which we can see nicely, the lungs. They are the lungs, right there. Right, so come close, you can see they are the lungs on the right-hand side, the lobes of the lung on the right-hand side, and they are the lobes of the lung on the left-hand side. We had cut that away right there. Right? So that's in the thoracic cavity. That is where we breathe in and out. So there is where we're breathing in and out right there. So what do we see? We've got these series of tubes that run down there. Right? So what is the tube called? So that is the nostril or the nares. Okay? In through, we're not going to cut this open, so we're not going to see the nasal cavity on the cat. Right? We can't also see the pharynx because that's behind there. Okay, so there, folks, is the thyroid cartilage right there. So let me put this in there like that. So there's the thyroid cartilage. And notice above the thyroid cartilage was the transverse jugular. So we remove the transverse jugular. There's my trachea. And there's the thyroid cartilage right there. Okay, so what did we do? This is the base of the tongue right there. So what did we do here? Okay, we want to see the epiglottis. So what happened? We cut up like that through the tongue, like that. We cut up like that through the tongue, and then we cut, notice, way up in the tongue. Now why don't we cut right above the thyroid cartilage?
Because you'll cut off the epiglottis.
Yes, the epiglottis there. So dissection-wise, we cut way into the mouth or into the tongue. So we actually pull this out here like this. So this is cleaned up. So that was pulled out like that. So there, folks, that's the pharynx right there. So that's probably the oropharynx right there, back there, right? So that's the throat area. Okay. This is where the laryngeal pharynx is going to be. So we pull this up. There's my thyroid cartilage. There now is the epiglottis. So we pull that up like that. So what do we see now? We see the tube in front, trachea, right? And there is my epiglottis. Now remember what's going to happen, folks, when we swallow, that epiglottis flap closes like that and it seals the trachea, so food slides over that into the tube at the back. And there's a tube at the back, which is the esophagus. So next week, when you guys have on gloves and you're working through the fetal pig, etc., you're going to feel the difference between what the trachea feels like and the esophagus. It feels different because here we've got cartilage reinforcement. There is just smooth muscle. Feels completely different. Then the other thing too, this works out real nice for us because there, ladies and gentlemen, is the thyroid gland right there. And there, the white little sesame seed structure right there, that is the parathyroid gland right there. So thyroid gland, T3, T4 calcitonin, parathyroid gland, parathyroid hormone. Real nice. Okay? So back here, so we tilt this back again, like that. And then right there, folks, we look down into it, and there we see the vocal cords in the cat right there. So there's the vocal cords right there. Right there. Now remember, what do the vocal cords do? Air flows up against it, and they vibrate to create sound. If you have a cat, think about when the cat purrs. That rumbling or that vibration in the cat. All right? So that is the larynx, epiglottis, thyroid cartilage, and then I had cut through this. So there's the thyroid cartilage right there. There's the space right there. So you can feel right there. So thyroid cartilage. So the first one is the thyroid cartilage. The second one right there is the cricoid cartilage. Remember, big in front, big at the back. What do? They support the epiglottis right there and the vocal cords. Right? Tracheal rings. Continues down. Okay, there's the lungs. So the tracheal rings, and then branching from the lungs, or from the trachea into the lungs, is the bronchus right there. Now, on the cat, can we see the primary, the secondary, the tertiary branches? No, we can't. So if I want to ask primary, secondary, tertiary, it'll be the pictures on the diagram side, right? And then finally there is the diaphragm, which again was cut away on this. On the fetal pigs, I was real careful. What I did was I just cut that open and drain the fluid out, so you will actually clean the diaphragm and do all of the dissecting next week. All right, so real, yeah, just, I mean, and we're not going to need scalpels or things, because it's soft enough that we can just use scissors to cut through everything. All right, so there's the diaphragm right there, folks. Then the last thing we're going to look at is the nerve that runs onto the diaphragm. So we're going to tilt this sideways like this. So on the right hand side there is the phrenic nerve, and it's right up against the inferior vena cava. So on the right hand side there is the phrenic nerve right there. So on the right hand side, phrenic nerve onto the diaphragm. So there's the inferior vena cava right there. Okay. On the left hand side, I'm hoping it's present on this cat. There we see it right there. So there's the peritoneal, or the membrane. So there's the parietal pericardium. There's the mesentery membrane. And there, folks, is the phrenic nerve on the left hand side. So notice two different locations. Against the inferior vena cava on the right hand side, further over on the left hand side, and it runs right onto the diaphragm. Okay, so macroscopic on the cat, boom, boom, boom. Same with the fetal